All right, Daniel, welcome.
How's it going? Thanks.
Doing great. How you doing? Awesome, awesome. We're awesome having. Get the audio okay? Everything good?
Everything's good to go. I can see a
Great.
hoop in the background.
Yes, sir. You found the right spot then. Well, great. I've had that since 1994, so pretty staple in life. But thanks again for joining us. This is a Millionaire's Mindset, where we come together to get better. So today we have the man, the myth, the legend, Daniel Hack, and we're just going to get started, man. Just have a great conversation. Again, it's all just designed for us to get better together. So part of this mindset and what you've done to really just help out your community so much. So many of us just want to learn from that. So this is the opportunity for us as we're in our cars and riding along. We can pull out information and say, hey, how would Daniel handle that? So really, if we could just get started, just to kind of framework, like what does your day look like? How do you prepare yourself so you can go out there and make an impact in your community?
So just from the time I wake up.
Yeah.
Um, so a normal day for me, as of recent, because of spring sports, is I'm up about 4:35 a.m. I get in the gym before work to try and start off on the right foot. Listen to a bunch of stuff, podcasts, other things about starting off your day right. Um, from there, I'm back. I'm trying to be out the door by about 7:30 and in schools. Most of the time during the day, I'm delivering checks or dropping in on coaches. Certain times of the year, we'll be doing, homework handouts and kickoffs with choirs, bands, other programs like that. Um, Rolling into after school, I've got homework handouts and kickoffs usually between 3 and 7, and home about 7:30, 8 o'clock is a standard day, probably
Mhm.
5 to 6 schools a day. I would think would be about average.
And you start off with something like motivational or podcast or to get you going. How do you decide what you choose, and what has been something that you go back to that you found is really helps you get launched through your day?
You were breaking up for a second. Can you repeat the beginning of the question?
Yeah, you mentioned about waking up and listen to a new podcast or something motivational. What is that like? Who you listening to? Is there someone that you go back to consistently, or is it always something new?
Two different things. I started out actually to kind of create the habit of getting up that early. As I started, it was actually Jocko Willenick was the one. He gets up every day at 4:30 and posts a picture of his watch. And he said somebody asked him one time, "Why do you get so early?" And he said, "Because that's when the enemy's sleeping."
Okay.
The guy's an animal. So that's one guy that kind of started that. But then what I would do is the second I would get up is I would put on a motivational YouTube video. So like I like Eric Thomas. What is his name? The Tennessee football player, Skinny Johnson, maybe. I
Yeah.
might be wrong. Um, Tony Robbins, other people like that. YouTube's really great because it'll learn what you like to listen to, and then it'll just put it into a list. The most recent for podcast is the MF CEO with Andy Frisella.
Okay.
Ecker actually put me on that, and I've probably listened to, I would say, 12 to 14 hours of that this last week. I've just been crushing that during workouts and everything. Uh, because, I mean, it's just so motivational. And I really like the quote, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." And if you're listening to podcasts of successful people, you're essentially surrounding yourself with them and their influence.
I love it. I love the mentality, and that influence. I mean, what are some things that you pulled that you feel from when you first started that you've added on that's really just made an impact in your Snap life and overall helping people out?
I think having the mindset of one, having the confidence in Snap. So until I actually saw the success of a campaign, I wasn't sure that it was the best thing. I was apprehensive about our pricing because we're not the cheapest platform out there. But once I got that confidence that we are the best things for programs, we aren't the cheapest, and to accept that and actually be proud of it, that's what really made a difference. And then also the change of we're there. I mean, it's not really a change, but just more of the mindset of we're there to help. I'm not there to make a sale. I'm not there to get a launch. I'm not there. I want to help that program and to stay focused on that, because sometimes we can get away from that. And so I've tried to make sure that I stay with the difference that we've made, whether it be looking at a text message a coach sent when I asked for a testimonial, or I have a album in my phone with stuff like that, that kind of brings it back home to the difference that we're making. You know, when I hear Cole say I'm going to raise 4.2 million this year, that's just uh, crazy to see that that's the amount of money that's being brought into this community because of what I'm doing. So
I love it. And I think that's what people are looking for. And, you mentioned, that strategy and keep putting things together. So what does your plan look like? You kind of walk through us your schedule throughout the day. What is your game week? What does your plan look like? And how do you create that strategy and keep moving forward?
well, it's all about preparation. I mean, I was a basketball player, so we always use the term that was aim small, miss small. You don't aim for the hoop, you aim for a right over the front of the rim. And that's what all the best shooters do. So I always use that same mentality in what I do with Snap, in that I need to know exactly who I'm going to talk to. I need to know who I haven't talked to yet, and have a specific plan, because then I will be more efficient with my time. I'll know where to go, and I'll be able to ask for referrals from other people, because it makes the biggest difference in the world. I mean, you can see it just by planning one week and not planning as well the next. I mean, whether it be the number of programs that you talk to, or the coaches, or the number of dates you set that week, it makes such a huge difference. So it's just taking the time to do that, which honestly, it wasn't easy for me at first. We didn't have the process that we do now when we first started. It was just go out and talk to coaches, get in schools. Now it's all right. We need to make sure you have a game week, a specific plan, and what you want to do. And so I was wired to be in schools. I was taught from that's the foundation: be in schools, be in schools, be in schools. So it's very hard for me to say, okay, no, you need to not be in schools for these 4 hours, so that then you are more efficient with these other 32 hours that you're in for the rest of the week.
Right.
Uh, so just taking the time to be able to do that, and planning efficiently, using location, knowing your schools, and then using referrals, so that when I'm talking to that coach, I'm writing down or typing in who I'm going to ask him to talk to, because we all get caught up in a conversation and forget, and then not having the confidence to go back, because we've all
Right.
been there when we're walking away and you're like, I forgot to ask coach, hey, do you know the lacrosse, and actually
Mhm.
walking back instead of walking away with that regret.
Absolutely. So to have a strategy, make that plan, but then just do the simple things and ask and reach out.
Yeah.
You've looked at things that you've ran across challenges. What were some of your biggest challenges that you ran across, and then how did you overcome them?
I only heard the end of the question because you were breaking up. It said you asked what are some of the biggest obstacles that I've overcome?
Yes.
Um, for me personally, or Snap within the territory?
With your evolution of the company, because we all know that our personal lives can lead into this career that we've selected for ourselves. So I'll let you choose. Dealer's choice.
Okay. That is a good question. I think it kind of ties back to that confidence in Snap. The first 3 or 4 months, all I really knew was a couple successful campaigns. We didn't have the type of campaigns that we do now, and the knowledge that we are the best thing out there. And I, like a lot of people, learn by seeing somebody do something. I was learning by doing, so I had to actually go through it. And it was Mira Mesa baseball. campaign that'll be dear to my heart forever. I just ran them for the 5th year this year. And actually asked the coach to take a picture of me with the program because they mean that much to me, because that was the campaign that trusted me, and we didn't really have a successful campaign in the territory yet. But bought into what I asked them to do and get the players to bring their 20 emails, and they did it, and they were successful. And that was kind of the biggest opportunity and obstacle for me, was that I didn't have that confidence at first. I had a confidence to a certain extent, but I still had doubt. And
Mhm.
once I had that, it made the biggest difference for me. And then that was also when we had created the homework handout and the kickoff. So having that confidence um, of trusting Cole and trusting, what we were doing going forward. So because we had kind of switched some stuff up from them, we didn't have the process that we do now.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, we really appreciate the advice. Don't want to take too much more of your time, but what advice would you give to a veteran rep or even a newer rep to help them get to that huge impact and $1 million in their community?
I would say the two biggest things would be, one, having a sense of urgency. Um, with what we do, you can always say, "Hey, I'll talk to him later. Or I'll talk to him tomorrow, or I'll get to that at another time." And I
Mhm.
would say that's the biggest key factor for me, is that I have a sense of urgency in everything that I do, whether it be talking to the most number of coaches on that campus, or going to that extra school to make sure that I talk to that coach before the season starts or right at tryouts. But having a sense of urgency in everything that you do, and then, with the sense of urgency, I guess in line with that, I think, is being efficient with that sense of urgency. So you're very um, planned there. And the second is showing your personality and showing coaches that you care. I think it's a huge factor in why Snap is successful, and what's going to continue our success is that we hire good people. We have that culture of, we want to hire people who are there to help. We don't want people who, have the used carman salesman mentality. Um, we have a process, and when we ask coaches to follow it, because we want them to be successful. And so showing that we care about the programs that we work with is huge, because it makes Snap that much more fun. We just had all the CIF championships this weekend, texting those coaches who said thanks, delivering a banner to a coach who said he would never work with anyone else again because I gave him a state championship banner before his AD did. Um, so that I would say is kind of my advice, would be showing that you care, having a sense of urgency. And then, actually, now that I think about it, the fundamentals are huge. You got to trust the process, learn from my mistakes, learn from what we've had to go through to get to the point that we have. Um, because we got to follow the process in terms of running at the right time, trusting your COC, because we have we have thought of everything, we have tried everything. So learn from our mistakes, and make sure to do the fundamentals.
Well, awesome. Well, we definitely appreciate you, and that's why we have you on today, so that we can, really just all learn together and have an opportunity to share this knowledge and, just get back to the basics. So I really appreciate your time and helping us today. And if there's no other closing remarks, I'll let you get to the rest of your evening.
I think that's it. Thanks for having me. And I hope that you guys all got something out of this.
Absolutely. Thanks, Daniel.